baby shit do I actually need? Babes, I got you. Hi, my name is Bonnie. I'm a pediatric PT, and I'm a mom of 3, okay? So we've been around the block a couple of times. Let's talk about it. You don't know what I have here. This is called the Upseat. The Upseat is like a baby floor seat device. So think about it along the same lines as something like a Sit Me Up or a Bumbo. And I'm sure you've heard some of the rumors out there about those sitting devices. And if you haven't, let me tell you, some of those devices don't put baby's spine or hips in a great position. They either have their hips really, really narrow, which can affect hip development, or they have baby in like a really unsupported slouchy position, which is really important for their spinal development and also the development of those muscles surrounding the spine that are just developed. So the Upseat is really cool because this was actually developed by a physical therapist, and you know that they had baby's development in mind when they were creating this. It has these wide openings in the front for legs, so great for skinny babies and chunky babies alike. There's no thighs getting stuck in here. The seat here is angled. I don't know if you can appreciate that well, but the seat is angled, and what that does is that it puts baby from this, you know, potentially in a slouchy position. This would be slouchy, and you put an angle under here. Woo! We lift that booty up a little bit. We get that spine in more of an upright position, which actually supports development of that lower lumbar curve. When babies are born, you know, they're all flexed up, right? They're just one big round curve. Actually, through movement like tummy time and rolling and sitting and crawling and all those things, we develop what are called secondary curvatures in our spine, and one of those secondary curvatures, you bet, is in our lower spine. So that angle in the seat supports development not only of that secondary curvature, but it really supports development of the muscles that create that secondary curvature, and that's the really important piece there. The leg opening is set out wide so that baby's hips are able to splay out how they are supposed to. Baby's hips, very important piece of information here, no matter what device you're using. Baby's hips need to be able to freely move, and they need to be able to go out wide. That is where they should be. That is how that hip joint, which looks kind of like this, gets good development. So if baby is like swaddled tight around their hips, if they're in a floor seat that maybe puts their legs narrow and they're spending a good bit of time in there, if they're in a jumper or an exerciser or something and their legs are hanging down in that narrow position, if their legs are hanging down in a baby carrier in that narrow position, they're spending a long period of time in all these different things, it can have an effect on their hip joint. So we want hips wide, and this bad boy does that here, right? And then I love that it comes with a tray here, so it snaps right in. Great for playtime, right? We can get some fun little toys on here. Okay, you can get some suction toys to stick up here and play, and then you can use this bad boy to have like snack time. It can be a great little travel high chair if you're going to grandma and grandpa's and you need something there. You can take the Upseat with you, and in fact, baby will fit in this well into toddlerhood. This is meant to be used beyond just this infant floor seat stage, and if they can't really sit by themselves, but they can't, you know, they want to kind of like be in everything and they don't want to be on their belly, and you just need a few more moments to do whatever it is that you're doing. This is a great use for that. So this is marketed to be used, I think, usually starting at like 4 months, which I would say is the very minimum, and I would say I'm only doing that if baby's doing really well in tummy time. Definitely use it a bit more 5-6 months to support the sitting process, but not to teach my baby how to sit, because we don't learn how to sit inside of devices. Do you need an infant floor seat? I'm going to say overall, no. You don't have to have an infant floor seat. When your baby gets to the age where they could use something like this, and you're like, oh, they're so bored, and I need to get something done, you could potentially put them in the high chair for a few minutes, as long as they're not falling over there, and use that as a container toy. You could baby wear them. You don't have to have this. Is it really useful to have? It is. And I will tell you, particularly with my third child who has low muscle tone, like, so he is a little bit later to skills. I have gotten so much use out of this particular piece of equipment because he's not rolling on his own yet. He's not sitting on his own yet, but he sure as heck does not want to be laying down here on his back all the time, nor do I want him to. And so having him in this, because he's developmentally ready to be in an upright position, but knowing that this supports him appropriately, I have used this a lot. And I will say I also use this therapeutically quite a bit in my sessions as a pediatric PT for many reasons. So I think it's a great tool. I think it's a great investment. It is a pretty penny. However, if you think about the length of time that you can truly use this, not just that little window before your baby is sitting independently, but using it as like a tool for meal times or traveling, it is great. Second of all, you can always sell it on Facebook Marketplace. I see these bad boys on there all the time, and they go for a good bit. Third, you can buy, they have like a secondhand or previously owned section on the Upseat website, so you can buy that on there. And then also, I've got a code for you. This one was gifted to me several years ago. I have since bought another one with my own money. That's how much I love this, and I've got a 10% off code for you guys. So use that too and save you a little bit of money. And yeah, this one's a yes for me. This one's a put it on your baby registry.